Hey everyone, welcome back to Salmon here, an incoming Microsoft intern. And I actually went to two different universities. One wasn't very well ranked, and now I'm in a top tier university. It's been like ranked 7th and 15th in the UK, and for my subject. And I will be answering the question of, does university prestige matter? And funnily enough, it doesn't actually matter. You'll be very surprised to know that I've got a lot of studies to back this up and personal experience, so I will talk about that and I will let you know in this video what actually does matter, and I will give you, statistics and things you can focus on, okay? And where should we start? Okay, let's start with this whole idea of diversity and inclusion. Why do companies not care, okay, about hiring only from the top universities? You have this whole idea at Microsoft as well that you want diversity and inclusion. You can hear this from Mary Rodriguez, so she's the head of global internships at Microsoft. You have Brooks as well, who's from the university team at Microsoft, who has mentioned that they try to hire from a wide range of universities and they try to hire people from different backgrounds. This is what Microsoft tries to do, and many other companies do this as well. They do this thing, well, a lot of companies do this thing called blind screening, was technically might not be called that, but they university blind screening, where they get rid of the universities. They block this out, so university recruiters, they can't see where you're from, okay? And this removes any unconscious bias regarding, hey, someone might think, there is this general idea that because of these rankings that some universities will be better. So yeah, just removing any bias that they can is something these university recruiters and teams will try to do. Okay, if you also look on Glassdoor, it's very, very simple to find out that you don't actually need a degree to get to these companies. Google, Facebook, Apple, EY, and IBM. I believe EY does this too. You don't need a degree to get their jobs. You can look on the job application websites and they don't list that you need a degree for a lot of these things, and these are proper like technical jobs and everything. Okay, I'm not talking about doing like bin service, okay? So I mean, bin service is fine, I'm not saying anything against that, but we're talking about something you do university to get into. And if they don't need you to have a degree to get into these companies, then why would you compare which universities you're at? Okay, let's get into that. Actually, there was a study which was done by two economists. This was back in 2002, so 18 years ago. They found out that if two students got the same SAT scores and they ended up going to different universities, one went to a university like Harvard and one went to a poor university like let's not say poor, but okay, a worse ranked university. And they found out that the salary difference between these two individuals, or okay, there was more than two individuals, but take this example, they both had negligible differences in these salaries. So someone who got the same SAT score, who went to a good uni, and one who went to, two people, one went to a poor uni, one went to a better uni, and they got pretty much the same salaries. Literally, it was about 0% difference, okay? So this is already showing you that is down to the student. That's what actually matters. Okay, I'll get into the traits of what you actually need in a short while, but they actually also followed the study up 10 years later. You might think, hey, okay, 2002, okay, 2012. They did the same thing with a larger sample size, and they actually, instead of taking the average SAT scores, they took the actual SAT scores, and obviously with the larger sample size, it's going to be more representative of the population. So they actually found out again, salary differences were negligible. It was like close to zero, and there you go. So university doesn't mean you're going to get a higher salary because you're a better one. It's actually comes down to these traits, which I will mention in a second. And yeah, I guess I'll should I talk about them now? Yeah, okay. So if we talk about, okay, so if you know the former senior vice former senior vice president of people operations at Google, Laszlo Brooks, yeah, that's his name. He actually mentioned that, what should I mention first? So his team and him, they analyzed, people who went to, like, the people who were performing well in the company, and they didn't really find any, like, link. Okay, they, like, in terms of if someone has done very well academically, that does not predict that they're going to be a good performer in the job. Okay. Secondly, there was, like, no relationship between, academic performance. Well, I literally just mentioned that, I guess. Secondly, university environments, they're very artificial. You are learning how to do a specific thing in a specific environment. You are in exam conditions, all these things. It's not like the real world. Okay, yes, you may do certain certificate exams and things like that, which I'll talk about as well. But you're in an artificial environment. You end up being in debt. You are basically not learning any real life skills, and you're extending adolescence. These are, like, the words of, Brooks himself. Okay, Lazarus Brooks, former senior vice president of people operations at Google. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm mumbling that, but it's a long title, and you get what I mean. I've said it before. Okay, so that's Google for you. Google used to actually target, when it was a smaller company, they used to target higher tier or top tier universities. But nowadays, yeah, it's changed. They now don't really need you to do a degree at all, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. You think about all these things as well, and it makes you question: does the name matter? Okay, you had this Operation Varsity Blues, okay, and that was this whole scandal where about 50 people had missioned into these top tier universities, but they were pretty much bribed their way in. Okay, so you can't really trust it anymore. If you actually look at the number of people who get into these universities, there are more people who get into top tier universities who are in the top 1% of the wealth in, like, this is like America, I believe. Then so more people who are in the top 1% of the wealth who get into these universities than there are people who are in the lower 60% wealth bracket. So you can clearly see that a lot of people who do get into these universities already are wealthy, and, like, if they're more wealthy, perhaps that means there's more connections that they have, network connections, and they do say that your network is your net worth. So yeah, I mean, you can't blame them for having more network connections and things, but essentially that's potentially why you do sometimes maybe see a skew of which universities end up getting into these firms. But this actually normally just applies to law, finance, and business. When it comes to tech, I'll tell you this. This is from experience talking to people at work. Not Microsoft yet, but my previous internship. Okay, they literally even mention big companies, they're able to just send out coding assessments to, like, everyone. Okay, and based on that, if someone does well and they pass the threshold to get to the next round, they can just continue with the process. Anyone, the companies, they can just mass send out these coding assessments. It doesn't matter which university you go to if you have the skills. And I guess that decides my next topic I'm talking about. If you have the skills, they will move you on to the next round. Okay, so my next topic, as I sort of hinted at, is what do business leaders actually look for, or recruiters. Okay, there was a study done, and this was there was a survey done, and it was, I think, the Gallup 2013 survey, and they found that with over 600 business leaders who did the survey, the things that they marked as very important. So they had 84% of them marked very knowledge in the field as very important. So 84% of these over 600 business leaders marked knowledge in the field as very important. Remember that, okay? Remember 84%. you might think, oh, it's lower than 90, it's lower than 99%, university must be higher. I'll get to that. Okay, then you have 79% of them saying applicable skills are very important. Okay, you can see where I'm going. We're getting lower now. Now we're at 28%. 28% of them said that, what was it? It was major. What major you're in is very important. So if you're doing, say, computer science and you're applying for a computer science job, only 20% of them realize this. That's getting low. Okay, guess what's next? At the bottom of the list, 9% said what school you go to is very important. So yes, you could say, oh, 9% of them. Man, there's still that bias. But we're seeing 84% of them saying that knowledge in the field is very important, and 79% of them are saying that applicable skills are very important. So you can start to see what actually matters. Okay, it's down to you as an individual. If you are, if you got the same ability of someone who's at a top university, but you're at a different university, you can still get the same salaries. You can still get into the same, sorts of companies. And yeah, I've worked with people who are from different, places. Like my last internship, I was surrounded by people who were in who were from top tier universities. My boss was he had done I think PhD and postdoc from Cambridge. Everyone, they seemed very smart. And then me and another intern, we were from not that good ranked unis, but I've transferred universities. Does that now mean I'm a different person? No, it doesn't. I feel like I've learned a lot more from self-learning and doing things beyond, and I think that's where that shapes me more. Simply put, my university is one line. My new university is one line 3/4 way down the page. I don't even expect the recruiters to see that, really, I guess, because I put stuff at the top, which is hey, my experience, I mention about halfway down that I have made about 150 open source contributions to Microsoft. Now it's about 250, so I'm still doing it. But this is when I was applying. And again, these things, they're not related to university at all. My university has never taught me to do open source. Okay, this is something I've done. I'm part of the .NET Foundation, so you can look into Microsoft. They have .NET and all those things. Microsoft Student Partner. So these things are things a recruiter has even mentioned. Okay, a recruiter said that what they look for in candidates is the things which you do as a student, which you didn't have to do. Okay, because what that shows? That shows, that you are willing to volunteer or give up your time. And this is my interpretation of it. And, if it is related to your subject, then you're showing that you actually enjoy your subject, that you're not doing it just to get by and just to get the degree. And that's what I kind of feel like a lot of people do. They just go to university and they expect, okay, I'll do the degree. That's all I have to do to get there, to the industry. But you have to pretty much live and breathe what you want to do, I guess. That's how I pretty much do it. You can see, what is it? It's past midnight. I just love coding. Okay. So it's down to the individual. Did I mention this already? The internal and external locus of control. So imagine you take a test, okay, and you don't do well. What do you do if you get a poor score? Do you start saying, hey, option 1, the lecturers were, not that good, they didn't give us enough material, they didn't tell us which modules to study, the test was really hard, it was nothing like the practice questions they gave in the lectures. Are you that person, option number 1, or are you number 2? Okay, that represents external locus of control. This is now internal locus of control. Hey, I didn't do well because I didn't practice enough, I didn't revise enough. I could have looked up more practice papers. I could have asked the lecturer for help more. I could have spent more time doing assignments, okay? Which one are you? Option 1, external locus of control, or option 2, internal locus of control? When you are option 2, okay, you start to realize that you have control over what happens in your life, okay? And you don't leave it up to, hey, my external factor, something I can't really change, it's my university name. Like, don't leave it up to that. Leave it up to you as a person and being able to, shape where your future will go. Now I'm trying to think of like other things. So yes, I've mentioned this whole, hey, they can just mass email out all these things. So yeah, to I guess to finish off, we can mention things like President Obama himself around this Operation Varsity Blues scandal thing, which was going on with like people getting into these unis by paying. He even said that at a tech conference last year, he said that he doesn't know where people that work for him went to college. He just knows whether or not they get the job done. Okay, so essentially what I'm saying is, once you get your first job, it doesn't really matter. You use your GCSEs to get your A-levels, use your A-levels to get into college or university, and then I guess the equivalents, you have your IIT, JEE, or JE, IIT, JE, you have your APs, your SATs in America to get to university, and then once you get your first job, it doesn't really matter. You just shift that experience above, and you don't even need to get a job. You do open source, you do all these things which are just, it's summer, you have so much time to do this. I don't have time that much anymore to do open source because I'll be starting my internship in about a day now. It's literally tomorrow and it's past midnight. I should be sleeping. So once you're in an interview as well, it becomes even playing field. So if you can just make it past that first stage, check out my How to Get Your First Internship and Top 5 Resume Tips video, and also how to network and get your first impressions going to get your job. If you once you get to the on-sites and everything, even playing field, same thing. Anything beyond the resume screening is an even playing field again. No one's going to be like, hey, this person goes to Oxford, I'm just going to take everything he says as the correct thing and the gospel. That's not how it works. It's down to you, okay? And there's so many things that you just have to realize as well, that you just have to persevere. If you take the top 5 big personality traits and you look into which one is the biggest predictor of success, is actually conscientiousness. So if you just have that drive and your willingness to learn, then you'll probably get it in the end, I hope. And it's not about where you start. I saw this comment on YouTube in the past. It's not about where you start, but if you have the determination, then that determination will drive you to get wherever you want. And I've paraphrased that comment now. So that's something I can really say is true. And yeah, I hope this really has inspired you to try doing more things beyond just your university name, and try to improve yourself and realize that it's not down to your university. Microsoft just opened up their new internship roles, so do check those out. I will be doing my first day video, hopefully, if I can get everything sorted, and I will do an unboxing. I've got a few boxes to show you what I have, stuff from the internship, and also cool swag. So yeah, I'll be taking you along that journey. Let me know what you want to see from me. I have to sleep because my internship is starting very, very soon. So I hope you appreciate what I'm doing for all of you. I have to actually edit this. This will take a long time to do. And yeah, thank you so much. This has been Salman MKC. Please do leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.